The Brazilian Football Championship, most popularly known as Brasileirão, has in recent years been frequently compared to the English Premier League, even receiving the title of the South American Premier League. But what makes the Brazilian League worthy of this comparison? Let's explore the main aspects that justify this analogy. First of all, let's start with a fact that has been happening since the first editions of the tournament, even before it adopted the current league format. The extreme competitiveness of the Brasileirão is one of its biggest attractions, very similar and I would say even more intense than what happens in the Premier League. In both leagues, the fight for the title is always extremely unpredictable, but I would like to highlight the number of different teams that have been champions. A total of 17 since the first competition in 1959. In Brasileirão, teams often face each other in very balanced games where either team can surprise and win. This level of unpredictability keeps fans in constant anticipation and makes the fight for the title last until the final matches. Furthermore, despite the fact that recent years have been marked by the constant presence of teams like Flamengo and Palmeiras in the title race, the championship's main characteristic is that the teams don't establish dynasties within the league as Manchester City currently does in England or as United did in past decades. The record for consecutive titles in the current format of the Brazilian League belongs to São Paulo, with 3 titles between 2006 and 2008, followed by teams with 2 titles in a row, such as Cruzeiro, Flamengo and Palmeiras. So the Brazilian Championship always ends up holding surprises in each edition, and it is impossible to predict the favorites for the title at the beginning, because literally anything can happen, like Botafogo bottling last season. And I need to mention that what is considered the Big 6 in England is considered the Big 13 in Brazil. That's right, 13. There are many teams considered big and with huge fan bases, and despite some differences in investment and revenue, they all have similar squads that can compete for the title or fight against relegation with just a few points of difference. When I say it's unpredictable, I really mean it. Another point that makes the Brasileirão similar to the Premier League is the quality of the talent on the field. Both leagues are known for being the birthplaces of great players and for developing new talents. In Brazil, players like Neymar, Ronaldo, Pelé, Tostão and Zico have left their mark. And the Brasileirão has always been famous for producing great players. But the difference is that in recent years, with the increase in the limit on the number of foreign players in the first teams, the main talents from neighboring countries such as Argentina, Colombia and Uruguay are migrating to the Brazilian League due to its great visibility, competitiveness, and mainly the financial distance from other South American leagues. Another interesting detail is that in this current edition, many players from other continents have started to migrate to the Brazilian League, such as former Premier League stars João Campbell and Yannick Bolasie, in addition to some unexpected signings such as Suarez's recent season at Grêmio, who curiously made the same move as Barcelona and signed Braithwaite to replace the Uruguayan this season. In addition, there is current speculation about Memphis and Martial coming to the league. So the presence of these talents not only enriches the sporting spectacle, but also attracts international attention, reinforcing the league's reputation and its dominance within the continent. The club's infrastructure is also a relevant aspect for this comparison. Just as the Premier League invests heavily in its stadiums and training grounds, the Brazilian clubs has made significant advances in this area. With new stadiums and the modernization of facilities, the clubs are matching high-level standards, providing a high-quality experience for players and fans. From clubs considered small and medium-sized to national giants are directing large investments towards modernization with a view to high competitiveness, which justifies the large presence of new clubs in the recent title races. This year, for example, we have Fortaleza fighting point by point for the title, which was already the case with Red Bull Bragantino in past seasons. It's as if there was a 2016's Leicester in every edition of the Brasileirão. Finally, the passion and culture surrounding football in Brazil is comparable to, if not greater than, the intensity seen in the Premier League. In Brazil, football is a central part of life for millions of people, with a vibrant and passionate culture that is reflected in the stands and on the streets. Packed stadiums with a different vibe in the stands. As fans in Brazil don't sit still for a single minute, these guys literally push their teams to victory at any cost, so it is always a challenge to face an opponent in an away match. Because regardless of the difference in investment between the teams, the stadiums are always a hostile territory for visitors, which can lead to unpredictable results that will change the entire course of the championship. So in short, the Brazilian Championship stands out as the South American Premier League due to its intense competitiveness, high level of talent, investment in infrastructure, and the passion of its fans. These characteristics make the Brasileirão very much in line with the standards of one of the most prestigious leagues in world football. The analogy is not just a matter of comparison, but rather an acknowledgement of the excellence and impact that Brazilian football has on the global stage, increasingly establishing itself as the best South American league and even superior to some of the top European leagues. But that's it. Do you already have a favorite team in Brazil? Leave it here in the comments. We will soon have more content about the Brasileirão here on the channel, so subscribe to follow everything interesting about the home of football. See you next time.